Wow, I didn't realize how controversial podcasts were going to be. I hit a nerve. I got feedback from a lot of people about yesterday's podcast. And there are literally two camps out there. Camp number one is, I'm just going to start a podcast. You read my mind. I'm going to start in the next couple weeks. Great. Camp number two is, why are you pushing podcasts? They never work. They never have worked. What is your problem? Well, today I'm going to address both of those. Today I'm going to tell you why podcasts work, proof of it, and then how to make sure it works that way. Best practices. If you're along for the ride, buckle up. It's going to get a little bumpy, but we're going to talk about that because marketing matters. Hello, my name is Bill Arnold. I am president of Prevail Marketing. You may find us at prevailmarketing.com. Every single day we give you a video on how to grow your business through better sales and marketing. The whole idea, the whole concept behind this was maybe we could share a little bit of what we've learned over the decades, what we've done for our clients last week, last month, last year. Things that we can actually help you do better, grow better, be better. And the only thing we ask in return, just a small little favor, please like, please follow, please subscribe. We'd love to know you're out there. We've actually started cutting channels because the ones that haven't responded, we're not in there. So if you're seeing this, you made the cut, the channel you're on. Okay, let's get down right to it. The untapped potential of podcasts, if you use best practices, and that's the kind of thing. I mean, I've seen a lot of people try, a lot of people fail, a lot of people swear they never work because they did it poorly. They didn't think ahead. They just thought, hey, I'm interesting. People find me interesting. I'm just going to talk. It doesn't work that way. I can prove it. No one listens, right? Unless you have something worthwhile to say. But the idea is that podcasts do work. 75% of the U.S. population has listened to a podcast, with 70% having listened the past week. That's huge. Think about that. Over 16 million Americans figure they're avid podcast listeners. Okay, podcasts engage. 80% of the people say they listen to the entire show, not just segments of it, but the entire one. Brand recall is 2.6% higher with podcasts and in their digital formats. I could go on and on and on and bore you ad nauseum with this stuff because I've got reams and reams and reams of while 214 million are listening at least once a month. I can tell you all about why people listen to podcasts. So the problem is podcasts is not that they don't work, is that if you're not getting yours to work, you're doing it wrong. And like so many other things, if you don't stay with the basics, if you don't do the foundational stuff, it's never going to work. And podcasts are no different. Podcasts can be the best thing since sliced bread for your business or a cricket. No one's listening. So let's talk about some best practices. Things we have learned, things we've discovered, things we've utilized to help our clients do better. Now, if you have more, I'd love to hear back from you. I mean, I'm sure we don't have the all-inclusive list. We've got the list that's worked for us, though. So, first off, define the purpose of what this is going to be. Is this going to be a true detective type story? Is it going to be a thought leadership program? What is the purpose and what do you expect as results? Just brand awareness? Just listeners to the podcast? Or do you want to get to actual sales? All this stuff has to be figured out because when you start formulating the content and how the show is going to be laid out, it's vitally important. You know this. So, next question. Who's your audience? I mean, boy, if you listen to any of my podcast, my podcast, I don't have podcast, videos, apologize, any of my videos or any of the blogs I write, you're going to know by now that you do not begin any, one more time, any marketing program unless you thoroughly understand who your targeted buyer personas are, where they go for information, what type of messaging is going to resonate with them, how they like to disseminate their information, how they like to go, where they go for third-party entertainment, education, and verification. All those basic things. Because you need to know what the content you're creating is going to resonate with this target audience. Is it going to latch on? I could have lots of topics I feel an expert about talking, but no one's willing to listen because it's not that interesting. There's not enough people who are engaged. So you need to find a topic that people are interested in, that they'll engage with, that they'll pay attention to. There's lots of things out there. How to make money, how to raise children, all sorts of things, health. All these things are things people are willing to listen to. Pick a topic people care about, and then the messaging they'll want to listen to. Choose a topic and its name, and I cannot tell you how important this is. I've set up various podcasts over the years, and We spend a lot of time, a lot of attention, a lot of detail to a topic and the name. Why? Because the topic's got to be something that transcends not just a show or two shows or one season, but multiple seasons. Things you can say are the natural arc, a natural flow of that topic. So you have enough latitude to pull in some interesting areas, but still on point that you're not going to take people on a journey they don't want to take. And the name, oh my God, the name is so important. I mean, people say, well, name's just a name. It's the content. Yeah, but people still judge a book by its cover, and the title is still what people judge by. If you don't have something that grabs my attention, I'll look for something that does. So spend some time, energy, and talent. Plan your content strategy. Make sure to make sure it aligns with your business goal and your target audience. One tip that we've done that has proven highly successful across a lot of different podcasts is inviting where we have two people being on the podcast, the host and a guest. The host has one thought process, one stream of consciousness, one way he looks at the issue and problem, whatever they're talking about, and the guest has another one. Not necessarily competing, but different. So there's a natural tension, a natural engagement between back and forth. And the key here to make this really work is that guest needs to have a social reach that's large and of the same target audience you have. So they'll invite their people to the podcast. You invite your people to the podcast. And that infusion helps both parties. They get to meet some people they didn't know, and you get to meet people you didn't know. That's how it works. That's how you grow. That's how you expand. So look at bringing on people who have a wide reach, your target persona, and you can benefit with each other. Exploit the narrative. What do I mean by that? Be a storyteller. There's nothing worse than just having a dry conversation where we're going to discuss the latest enlightenment. That bullshit, right? Tell a story. People like tales. People like stories. When I talk and I share some of the war stories, they're the ones that get the biggest bang for the buck. In fact, I've even thought maybe I just ought to do that. Just tell stories all the time, because people seem to like that. Not a lot of educational content necessarily, but they're fun. Make it dynamic. Be a good storyteller. I mean, have a flair for the dramatic. I mean, you always think people pause. We'll be back after this message. You know what I mean? People, wow, I get you anticipated. You stick around. Make sure you have a flair for the dramatic. Don't be dry, boring. Information is not only what you're trying to do. You're trying to entertain. So be entertaining. Be fun. Smile. Same person who rarely smiles, right? There you go. Invest in quality equipment. There's nothing worse than having poor tone, poor sound, echoing. Invest in quality equipment. Content's king, but presentation's right there. If you don't have a good presentation, you don't have a good podcast. Invest in production software or get someone to produce it for you. I can tell you right now, there's a difference. Get the right kind of software so you sound good. Optimize your podcast for discoverability. I mean, do things, use relevant keywords in the title. Use descriptive episode titles that really are going to compel people. Have questions in a lot of them, because people like things that are questions. Submit your podcast directories. Use good thumbnails that are interesting and compelling. Okay? I mean, it all speaks to who you are and what you want to communicate. Make sure every essence of that is on point. Promote your podcast. I mean, if you build it, they won't come. I promise you, that's the big, if I could give one lesson to entrepreneurs about anything, their website, their product, anything, if you build it, they won't come. Promise. No one's going to beat a path to your door because you got a better mousetrap or got a better podcast. Won't happen. You need to promote it, share it, drive it. Get influencers to retarget and share there with their people. You need all of that. The same marketing you would do for a product, you need to do your podcast. If you aren't willing to do that, then don't start. Because you'll be talking to yourself. And while some of us have no problem doing that, I find myself very entertaining. Their idea is most people want some traction. So promote it. Get people to help you share it. Engage your audience. Have call-ins. Have questions from the audience. Have them provide feedback by social media. Have them provide, all that kind of stuff. I mean, Andy Cohen does a really good job. He has a show every single night on Bravo where he talks to celebrities, and what does he has? Engagement with his client, with his audience, questionnaires, polls, things they can evolve with. They get on and ask questions. These are the things you need to do because that's what's going to keep your audience feeling a part of you, feeling that they're on this journey with you. And that's what a good podcast is. You take people on a journey with you. You're just the navigator. You're just showing them the sights as you go by and explaining what they're seeing. But in their minds, they're building out that story. They're hearing your words and crafting their own vision of what that looks like in reality. And no two people are going to have that same vision. That's what's so beautiful about podcasts. We all are going on our own separate journey together. And that's what you want to accomplish. So, be consistent. And consistency doesn't mean you have to do something every single night. Probably not a good idea. But you have to do something on a consistent basis. If it's one day a week, do it one day a week. If it's always Tuesday, make it Tuesday. Always Wednesday, make it Wednesday. Do it 2 days a week, 2 days a week. Whatever you do, be consistent so you're predictable. I know that on Friday night at 3 o'clock, anytime after that, I can turn on my favorite app to get podcast, turn on, whatever. You know what I mean? And I can listen to that podcast. Be consistent. Constant improvement. I guarantee the first podcast you will do will be crap. You may not realize it's crap, but 100 shows into what you're doing, you'll look back and say, wow, that was crap. Okay? And it's good. You need to go through all those crappy shows to get to the where you're at. They're part of your legacy. Don't destroy them. Incorporate a laugh at them maybe. But you need to have consistent improvement. That means you have to look at the numbers and metrics of how many people are sharing and following, subscribing. What is resonating? If it's not resonating, give it time. It takes time. But after some point in time, you say, nah, it's not resonating. I'm going to do something different. That's what marketing is about. Yes, you do things as far as you can take it until you get the numbers to prove you shouldn't do it anymore. So follow the numbers. Those are what you want to do if you want to build a great podcast. It's all about storytelling, all about being entertaining, and you can be amazed of what you accomplish when you become the story about your product, similar to what Trader Joe's has done. Amazing, right? So I thank you for your time. Tomorrow we're going to talk about, we may still talk about advertising on podcasts because I still think it's important unless we have to talk about. But until then, I want to thank you for your time, attention. Please like, please follow, please subscribe. We'll talk again tomorrow.